Hey guys, what's up? Lyndon here, and today we want to talk about follow-up. Follow-up, but not just any regular follow-up. We want to talk about follow-up as it relates to go asking a customer if they've read your proposal and where are they next as it relates to moving forward. You're really asking for the close. We are at the later stage of the sales process, and we want to do that follow-up for as it relates to closing the opportunity. Now, follow-up is a big Achilles heel for many sales professionals. Sometimes I used to feel like when I was following up with the customer, I would be badgering the customer, right? Or I would be harassing the customer. So sometimes we say things like, yeah, well, I don't want to follow up with them just yet. I'll give them some time. I'll call them next week. That's really procrastinating. That's we kind of giving ourselves the time to sum up the courage to actually do the follow-up with the customer, right? But there are a number of different ways that you can go about doing follow-up. And I just kind of share two with you all as to what I do as it relates to follow-up. So here's the first pro tip as it relates to doing certain things like follow-up. Because we don't want ambiguity, because we to mitigate the I don't want to call them just yet. One of the first things that I normally do if a customer has asked me for a proposal or for a quotation, right, and I have to send that in, one of the things that I like to do is to say, listen, hey John, I'm sending this proposal into you, so I'm going to make sure I get this proposal into you by X date, right? How much time is it that you think that you would need to review the proposal? 1 week, 2 weeks? And then I may say something like, listen, I know you get busy sometimes, so is it safe for me to say it may take you 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks? What it would be a good time for me to follow up with you on? That is me asking them when is a good time. I'm not pulling out an imaginary date or just guessing a date as to when would be a good time to follow up with them. I'm asking them when will be a good time for me to follow up with you based on this proposal, all right? So the customer will say, well, maybe you should give me about 2 weeks, or maybe give me about a week or in a couple of days or something like that. So if they say a couple of days, I might say, all right, so I'll follow up with you in about 3 days, maybe around 2 o'clock, I'll give you a call, whether it's call or email or whatever it is. That is now you setting the date. So it removes the ambiguity of when is a good time to call them. So you don't have to feel nervous or anxious about calling. Another one is that between the time I've sent the proposal and the date of the follow-up, I like to drop little breadcrumbs. I like to drop little bits of resourceful information to remind them, because sometimes the customer really does get a little bit busy, right? So I may drop something like a resourceful article, whether it's something that I've written, whether it's a video or an article, or I may actually find an article from somewhere else and I share it with them, and I may say, hey John, found this article that I think resonated well with a section whatever of the proposal. Hope that you had the opportunity to look to review it. I'll chat with you on X date based up, and that date that we're talking about is the date that he said or she said when you should follow up with them. Again, you are building up. So in between that time, I'm saying, hey, I just happened to come across this article. Maybe it didn't really happen to come across. You went there intentionally and looked for it, because you're building it into your follow-up strategy, and you sent it out to the customer, and then at the end of your email you're saying, looking forward to talking to you on X date, because that date came from the customer, right? Good. So those are two simple ways of structuring your follow-up to remove that level of ambiguity, that nervousness, because once you're sure as to what you're talking about, and you know that you have a date to call back the customer, and you're sure you're having a discussion, you wouldn't be guessing, you wouldn't be pulling random dates. Here's another one. Suppose sometimes you would have the customer would have not responded to any of your responses. All right, the date would have passed, and you're a month, 2 months, 3 months into the thing. Well, then that proposal is really dead, because your proposal is supposed to have a particular timeline, unless initially the customer would have requested that you hold your pricing for 30, 60, 90 days, right? But unless you have that, you have the ability to structure certain things. Now, so what happens when a proposal goes cold, or when a quotation goes cold? Well, one of the things I really like to do is ask the customer for permission to delete their file or to close the proposal. And the reason why I like doing that is because it tends to sometimes trigger the customer, and then I'll be honest with you, they kind of feel bad too, a little bit, right? So I may say, hey John, listen, I tried to reach you a couple times. I know that you may have really gotten busy, and the timeline as to when you would have supposed to when you needed this particular product, service, or solution may have passed. Listen, I know that you may either have gotten busy or forgotten about it, or you may have made a decision and went elsewhere already. Either way, listen, you know what? It's fine. No hard feelings. I just want to get permission to close the file or not, based upon whichever one of those 3 stages that you are in. All right, looking forward to hearing from you. So I'll know what to do next. More than likely, the customer is going to read that and give you back a response. So it's just a matter of structuring your approach. Again, once you understand how to do certain things in sales, it is supposed to build your confidence, and you need to be sure. So anytime that you are unsure as to when to do something, it's because you're not following a strategy. You're not following a particular series of steps. And that is why having a sales strategy for every stage of your sales process is so important. All right, guys, so I hope that made sense for you. Let me know, what do you use as your follow-up strategy, and which one of those strategies that I shared resonates with you? Do you think that you'll be able to use? There's a lot more I'm going to have to share as time goes on. Stay tuned. Take care. Peace.